All right. Hey, BA fam. We have some very special company in the studio today. That's what I say when we have a guest. I don't say guest, I say company. I am from the South. I'm from Georgia. Y'all know when we have company, we take the plastic off the sofa, we get the good plates down, and we say hello and welcome to our guest today. And I can hardly even believe it, but Mr. Mathew Knowles, welcome to Brown Ambition.
Hey, hi, mate. Mandy, you're from Georgia. I'm from Alabama.
I know.
So we're both from the South.
We are, yeah. What'd you call us? I mean, now you're in, where are you at now? Are you in
I'm
LA?
in Orange County, California.
Okay.
My wife and I, we live in Houston, part-time. We live here part-time. We live in London part-time.
Oh, wow. Okay. What are we like doing this seasonally? Is there a certain season? Do you leave Houston in the summer? Because that heat I hear is intense. How do you
No, not
split the
really.
time?
It's not seasonal. It's more holiday, festive time. London, I teach every quarter at the London College of Contemporary Music. So that's on calendar 4 times a year. And then, most of the times I've done 24 speaking events this year, 24 around the world. So we live a lot on the airplanes as well.
Yeah. And I mean, I am excited because I feel as if, well, I should just start by saying it's been a hell of a week, right? I know that this episode probably won't air until the beginning of the new year, but honestly, I am in this season where when I sit across from someone who I know is an incredible parent or at least has more experience than I do, the first thing I want to do is just say, "You got any advice for me?" I have a almost a 5-year old. He turns 5 this year, and I have a 1-year old. And I mean, this is a very intense week. And I'm just wondering, like, as a dad, what advice do you have for parents who are trying to figure out sort of like how to keep the vibe hopeful and hopeful and forward looking during a crazy time
Yeah.
like this?
Well, I'm older than probably most of your audience, so I've seen this before. I've seen it probably 3 or 4 times in my lifetime.
Right.
This too shall pass, and it just prepares us. Whenever there's challenges in our life or failure or mistakes, I view those, Mandy, as opportunities to grow, opportunities to get better, opportunities to learn from the mistakes, uh, also known as not going to vote. Uh, uh,
No.
so, so,
Yeah.
it's an opportunity for us, and I think we keep hope alive and hopeful with our kids. Um, our parenting skills were always find out what they are passionate for and with, and surround them with all the support. When I found out Beyonce and Solange wanted to get at a young age in entertainment, and we got a vocal coach, we got the tools that they needed. So it's always about being hopeful with our kids. I don't think we give them the doom and gloom. I don't think in parenting kids need to know everything.
Mm. Not they don't need to know everything. Just enough. I
That's
mean,
the
just enough to get through. Well, I did see that you had joined Beyonce in Houston to support Kamala Harris's campaign. Is that right? I think I saw a photo.
Yes,
What was
yes.
that experience like?
It was an amazing experience, amazing energy. The venue that it was in was literally 7 blocks from where my wife and I live. We had only been there once, but it was set up for soccer. And I didn't even understand that 30,000 people could get in this venue. And so it was so much energy and
Mm.
so much security that I had never seen before. Scary security. So
Mm.
it was an interesting night. Um, I didn't find out till later that there had been a bomb threat, and that's why it was delayed. So
Oh my.
it was delayed somewhat, a couple of hours. So it was a long night.
Oh man. Oh, I hadn't heard that. Well, for you, I mean, I know you recently, you have been doing some speaking engagements and have been sharing. I mean, obviously, you developed, you produced, you managed one of like the most iconic groups in the history of music, and one that means so much to me as a little girl growing up in the 90s and early 2000s. But the business behind that, I know you've been talking a bit about the branding of, a group like Destiny's Child and then to Beyonce. And I saw this graphic where there are all these different, elements of building the brand of Beyonce and Destiny's Child, from like marketing and worldwide engagement and global engagement. Did politics ever come up? Seeing Beyonce now sort of take the stage with Kelly and support Harris. For you, like, is that something that you would encourage as a manager for someone who's maybe not necessarily seen to be in that, on the political side of things?
Well, politics is in business, Mandy.
Yeah.
Uh, Not the politics of government, but the politics of relationships and how decisions are made. Certainly follow the same concept. There are politics in business that you have to build those proper relationships with. That's why it becomes very important relationship building. So there is a similarity there. No, I
Yeah.
don't get that involved today in the governmental politics. I did when I was younger, much younger in Alabama, and demonstrating and desegregating. I never went to a black school, Mandy, and I'm 72 years old until I was a junior in college. So my mother went to high school at Coretta King in Marion, Alabama. And when she moved to Gaston, Alabama, my mom, she was ferocious in the movement. And so I integrated elementary, junior high, high school, University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. So from that regards, I was speaking last night to a group of young people. I've been beaten, spit on, electric prodded, all the things that young people today have no clue of what a colored and white water fountain looks like, or bathroom that we had to go to. And really, because of that, and because of the lack of history, don't have the appreciation of how important it is to vote.
And what the stakes are. Do you know
Exactly.
one of the things that I was grappling with what to say to the Brown Ambition audience yesterday. I ended up coming on at like 4 a.m. and basically saying what was on my heart. But one of the things I thought about was how my generation was given this impression that your generation, the ones who came before us, the MLKs, the John Lewises, the Shirley Chisholms, that they had done so much fighting and that they had won, period, you know? And I think what we're in now, and I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this too, but it sounds like this unlearning of the fact that this is not, we can't take it for granted. It's not done. The fight is so not done. In fact, it may be starting, from further behind in many ways than like where we thought it was. And that has rocked some people's worlds and terrified them in a way that doesn't seem to be terrifying you, because of course you seem to have experienced, that level of social unrest and unjust, and where things aren't fair. Things don't work out for the home team all the time, you
Yeah,
know?
life is not fair, in my opinion. So I
Hmm.
seldom use that word. Was it fair or not? Uh, was it injustice? Uh, I use those type of scenarios. But,
Hmm.
I just think that also we've made a lot of progress as Black people, and we can never forget that. And I think sometimes we forget just the population of America. We are only 38 million people.
13%.
There's 200 million white people, and to have done all the things we've done with such small numbers is
Hmm.
absolutely amazing. And I think we lose sight on that sometimes. We lose sight on what a small number of people have accomplished with a majority number of people. And so I have hope. I have hope in your generation. Um, this election shows showed us a lot of data. One being educated versus those that aren't educated, and how the thought process. You can easily fool someone who's not knowledgeable. If you don't understand how a car operates, then you can tell a mechanic can tell you anything, and
Mm.
you'll buy into it. You need a new radiator, okay? You need a new battery, okay? Because you're not knowledgeable, and that's what happens, and why I really press about knowledge. I use the word knowledge rather than education, because knowledge is to me more important. Having the
Mm.
knowledge of something, because you have the book smarts of something. I'm a college professor, and I'm saying this doesn't necessarily give you the knowledge that you need. That's where I would give hope, because we've come a long way, and I would want her to understand again why it is important to vote. Why
Mm.
is it important to build relationships? Why is it to understand different cultures, how they think, how they operate? It's important to understand that we're all different. Cultures are different. How they decision making is different. How they build relationships are different. And people that are successful, they understand that.
Talk to me a little bit more. I'm just curious about that knowledge versus education.
Uh, and to give an example, if a professor taught entrepreneurship out of the textbook and had never been an entrepreneur, I take offense to that,
Mm.
because he or she would not have the knowledge of what it means in the day to day of what an entrepreneur has to go through. That's not in the book. The mental aspect of it, the importance of understanding the financial aspect of it, and what we as Blacks have to go through to run a business versus our counterparts. Because that's an example. Yes, you could uh, take the course from someone who taught it that never has been an entrepreneur, and I guarantee you that course would be totally different from someone who's an entrepreneur that teaches the course. First of all, for me, I throw half of that stuff out the window because it's not applicable. It's just
Mm.
textbook filling up pages in a book that's never going to be used.
What are
That's
some
the
things
knowledge,
that you were like, we're skipping that chapter?
because that's the knowledge I have.
Yeah.
I'm going to hone in what's very important, what's going to move the needle for you as an entrepreneur.
What is that? I'm an entrepreneur.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get into teaching a class with you today, but
No, I'm curious, but like, no, I obviously, absolutely. Let me know. I'll sign up. I'll go to London, whatever school you're teaching at, get a proper course. But I'm just curious, like high level. Um, I'm very curious to hear, like high level, what are the like tenets of entrepreneurship that you're like, this is the stuff that's going to
for me,
separate
it's as
successes
simple.
from failures.
For me, it's as simple as the who, the what, the why, the where. The who, the what, the why, the where. Who's the customer? What is the product? Why should my customer buy it? And are the distribution channels? That's the fundamentals
Mm.
of entrepreneurship. Now I can go into the different distribution and how that works. I can go into marketing and how that works. But basically, it's those four elements. And
Mm.
when you build out from the foundation, uh, then you hear some people say, uh, what's the word that's used? Systemic racism. I use
Mm.
the word structural racism. When you build a house, you first build a foundation, the structure of it. When you build a business, you first build a foundation, the structure of the business. Then you go into the systems. Then you go into putting in the light system, the heating system, the air conditioning systems in a home. But you
Mm.
first build out the foundation of it. I keep like real simple. that
Mm-hmm.
has worked for me. I guess coming from Alabama, people keep things very simple. Sometimes we make it more difficult than it really is, uh, and there's no need for that often.
Right. I mean, from what I'm hearing, it's for you. Have you defined your customer? Have you defined the need that they have? Do you know why they would need what you want? And do you know how to get it to them?
Yes.
How am I doing,
The who,
teacher?
the what, who, the what, the who, the what, the why, the where. You got an A on that one, Mandy.
Oh, thank you. I mean, you said that you wouldn't call it systemic racism, but structural racism. I mean, we can keep it Alabama simple, but tell me more about structural racism and its role in, in the life for a young Black entrepreneur, like the people who listen to our show who want to start their own businesses. Where do you see that potentially causing them issues, and then how to overcome that?
Yeah, I think when I look at structural racism, it's four pillars to that, basic pillars. One is education and knowledge. Because if you don't have the knowledge, then by the knowledge also allows you to get a good job or run a successful business, which then allows you to live in a certain neighborhood. Because if you lived in some neighborhoods, then you have then dealt with liquor stores, grocery stores on every block and the culture of that neighborhood. So for me, it all starts with knowledge and education, which allows you to build out in how you live and the way that you live. That is as simple as that for me. And
Mm-hmm.
and because I'm older, uh, you guys don't understand that in doing integration, the only people that really integrated were Black people. We integrated. We allowed other cultures into our neighborhood. When I grew up, Mandy, and maybe with your grandparents, we had Black grocery stores. We had Black gas stations. We had Black nail salons. We had Black businesses in our neighborhood, and then we integrated, and then we moved out into the suburbs and left our core neighborhood behind. And now, as we see those neighborhoods, they don't look the same. Uh, so I always think we were the
Mm-hmm.
ones who integrated.
Something was potentially lost in those communities
Absolutely.
over the same time. Well, how? Um,
And then
yeah, I
social
can't.
media, doesn't help us today because we get so much false information uh,
Mm,
on social media. It's sad. It's very sad um, that our younger generation have to endure social media and some not understanding that what they're reading is not even truth and actually believing it. Uh, Social media has done a lot of damage in my my thoughts.
do you think it's a necessary evil?
I use social media for marketing.
Hmm.
I just don't have a desire, a concern to want to communicate with someone that I really or get angry or upset with someone's comment that I don't even know. For all I know, they could be a 10-year-old. And here I am getting upset because I read something, and so LinkedIn is where I live on social media,
Oh, we love a
because
LinkedIn profile.
yeah,
Yes.
because that's where business people live. That's where educated, knowledgeable people live. And that's where I live. I live on LinkedIn. Now,
Hmm.
as a company, we do other social medias, but I don't get involved.
Well, it helps to have that buffer, right?
Yeah.
Someone else to think about that. So would you mind talking about the business now? I mean, what is it? Because yeah, like you said, many people may not know that you are a professor and you're doing these speaking engagements, but how has your business structure, your business strategy sort of changed over the last couple of decades?
Well, for me, and I say this with a lot of gratitude. You talked about building Destiny's Child to the number one female group in the history of music, and Beyonce is the number one female artist. Uh, and in growing that business, you understand the music industry is about intellectual property, building IP. And when you build IP, it allows you in perpetuity to have income. So fortunately, 35 years later, when I look at my business, 3/4 of it is mailbox money.
Mm.
Simply going to the mailbox every quarter, every semi-annual. That's
And
a
is that just
beautiful, that's,
residuals,
that's
royalties?
residual
Somebody's playing
royalty.
Bootylicious and it's like,
Correct. Correct.
well, you're welcome. Because all those Survivor plays yesterday came from me.
Have you ever looked at the liner notes of who wrote Survivor?
I mean, maybe once upon a time, but you know
You got
what?
a
Liner
computer?
notes.
You got a computer? Just Google the writers of Survivor and
Oh my
tell your
goodness.
audience. It'll only take you 30 seconds to do that because you're good on your computer.
I'm so good. Okay, Survivor, Destiny's Child. I'm like, who reads liner credits anymore? You don't even have a physical album to look at now.
People in London, in England, read liner credits. Japanese culture reads liner credits. Um,
Oh,
so there's some,
composed by Mathew, Knowles, Beyonce, and Anthony Dent. Is that correct?
that is correct.
That's your whole that's your whole nest egg right there. But
I'm
that's
grateful. I'm blessed to have written a number of songs in my career. Uh,
mm.
we had
Wait,
the
what lyric
opportunity.
did you come up with?
I came up with the melody more so than the lyrics.
Oh, which
And
one?
quite frankly, that's actually me humming on the song and saying,
Where?
what? Are you stop? What? That's actually me.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Knowles, a singer too. So was
No, I'm
that
not a
some
singer. I'm not a singer.
no? You don't want to like
No,
nothing you want to like
no, no,
contribute?
no.
Okay, how many other songs are you secretly backing vocals on?
Well, most people don't realize that at Music World Gospel, we built the number one gospel label in the world with Leandra Johnson, Trinity 5-7,
Mm.
Brian Courtney Wilson. So everybody's focus have always been on Destiny Child and Beyonce and Solange and Kelly, Michelle. But
Can you
quietly,
blame us?
I've done more outside of that in the music industry. Uh,
Mm.
building that number one. Had a country label, Compadre, for
Mm.
years, for almost 15 years, country label. Had the opportunity with Music World Sanctuary record label to do Last Earth, Wind and Fire song with
That
Maurice,
I did see. Yeah.
Shaka Khan and the London Symphony, Kool and the Gang, last two OJ's records, Sunshine Anderson. Um,
Mm.
I can go on and on. But that stays on the radar, and I'm good with that because I like being under the radar. It's a good thing sometimes being under the radar.
I mean, you're known as the mastermind of like the number one girl group, like you said.
But you have to understand that for 20 years I managed Beyonce. So why am
Mm.
I not known as the mastermind behind Beyonce?
Is that something that you want to be known?
No, it's just a question.
Yeah.
If I'm the mastermind of Destiny's Child, wouldn't I be the mastermind of Beyonce? I didn't stop managing her to 2012, and she started in 1992. That would be 20
Mm.
years.
Yeah.
Wouldn't I have architect her career just like I architect Destiny's Child career? Would there be a Beyonce if there was not a Destiny's Child? Was that a strategy?
Mm.
I won't answer
Was
that
it?
question.
You
I
won't.
won't answer that question.
Well, the Jackson Five, Michael Jackson. There's so many examples of the group being the launch pad for the an individual star to come out
Oh,
of it.
Supremes. You ever heard that girl group Supremes?
Oh, of course.
Yeah. Or that
Yeah.
boy band NSYNC?
I was trying not to say Justin Timberlake. I got stuck on that. I'm like, damn it. Who can I say besides Justin
Diana
Timberlake?
Ross?
There
We
you
could
go.
go on
Diana
and
Ross
on.
was the Supremes. And then I panicked because I couldn't think of the lead singer of the Supremes was. And I was like, damn it, I should know this. It's Diana Ross. Mr. Knowles, I don't want to
You have
fail.
such a great spirit, Mandy.
Thank you very much. I mean, you are Beyonce's, I mean, like, you were Beyonce's dad. I don't understand what that even must feel like for you. I mean, she is so huge now, but she's still a human. She's still your baby girl.
Well, that's what I really enjoyed today, because there was a time it was extremely difficult to manage your kids,
Hmm.
and there was a time that I was more her manager than her dad, and now I'm 100% her dad, and I
Hmm.
love that.
Make some good memories. Like, it doesn't have to, because I'm in New York now. So it's like, I don't want to have to just fly down for the emergency. And the
Yeah.
last memories I have of him are being really sick. And what do you and Beyonce do if you're just like dad and Beyonce? What do you, and Solange, what do you guys do?
You just hang out at the house. Nothing, nothing, elaborate. Um, just simple things that normal people do. Just
Hmm.
hang out and have fun and talk and laugh and eat. You know?
Do you ask them to fix things on your phone like my dad does all the time? Or are you like up on
No,
that?
I don't. Normally, I have my phone pretty much fixed by the time I get to them.
Do you send them a lot of YouTube links about conspiracy theories?
No, we text a lot. We text a lot. I don't send them any negativity. It's all positive stuff. I don't
Hmm.
talk that much about the industry. Just the other day, Beyonce called me for my opinion on a business matter, but we don't do a lot of that. It's more just dad stuff. And how are you health wise? I'm asking her, and she's asking me, and how is life? We don't get into the business conversation hardly at all.
How long did that transition take? Was it difficult? I imagine it might have been.
Well, it always is difficult, but the wonderful thing is Beyonce never got another manager after me. And I hope that is because I prepared her for the industry that she didn't need another manager. I hope that
Hmm.
I prepared her to be fourth generation because I'm third generation entrepreneur. And I'm very proud of it. These are the things that
Hmm.
consumers and fans and media, they don't really think through and understand. Because most people would have gotten another manager. She didn't. She started a company. How about that?
And do you
And
think, oh, go ahead.
no, I'm just how proud I am of that.
It's good to see how proud. I mean, I don't even, obviously, I don't know her, but I have, I have been led to believe that you don't have like a lot of legitimacy until you have an agent or a manager in that. And I mentioned to you, I do negotiation coaching. I just had a manager, sorry, an agent, and who hadn't been responding for days and days. And I'm doing the conversation, and I'm like, why do I think I need this? I don't actually. It's very empowering when you start to trust yourself to handle a conversation and trust in your own. And so I feel like it's undoubt, it's without doubt that the reason Beyonce was able to start her own company and move forward with that confidence was because at some point you must have instilled in her a lot of knowledge where she felt like, I got this. I have been to the Mr. Knowles school of business and the entertainment business. And how does that make you feel?
Yeah, well, like I said, it's a beautiful, wonderful feeling. And the same with Solange. I mean, Solange don't have a
Mm,
manager. She runs her own company. Um, they grew up like I grew up. I grew up with parents that were entrepreneurs.
Mm.
In the summers in Alabama, you go down to your grandparents. And my grandfather owned 300 acres of land and would lease out some of that land to the paper mill. And he was a farmer. Just the concept that my grandfather would lease out 100 acres of land, get paid for it, and then go behind them and farm. In other words, they paid him so that
Mm.
he could farm. And then he was a regional moonshine distributor, thus Sir Davis. That's my grandfather,
I
Sir
was
Davis.
gonna say, how
Was
does that feel?
so what I'm saying is that we've all lived in an entrepreneurial environment. Third generation myself, fourth generation. Now my grandson Jules starts out a top model. He's done Versace, everybody. He runs his own business with his mom. And one day she'll give him his wings and he'll fly.
Well,
I'm
how many
very proud of the legacy of our family.
I mean, it won't be long before Blue Ivy has. I mean, does she already have an LLC? I'd be surprised if not. She got song credits and Grammys, right? Or
Of
was it
course she
Rumi?
does.
Yeah. What
Yeah.
I gotta ask you as a granddaddy, like, what's it like? What's that relationship like with Blue and the little ones, Sir
Well,
Rumi?
people get that wrong. First of all, I'm a guy, and
What?
guys
No,
are,
kidding. Go ahead.
yeah. And when kids are 2, 3, 4, most guys aren't, and like, as a grandparent,
Mhm.
not as a parent, but as a grandparent, with the girls, they don't have the same kind of relationship. With the boys, we throw them against the wall and throw balls, and so it's a different relationship when they're young. I have a 20-year-old grandson. People forget that.
Oh,
Then
I
my
don't forget
other,
about Jules.
but then my other kids are 12 and younger.
Uh-huh.
So who would I gravitate more? It would be the 20-year-old grandson. That's just normal. And as the
What?
other kids get older, then we have more to share together. There's only one of me, so I can't spread all of me and be a great husband and
Hmm.
so I have to you have to parcel out how much time you can.
No, I
The
mean,
love doesn't go away, but the relationship is different. And I'm just real about it. People like, I bet somebody's man. She's a girl. She's going through teenage. She don't want to talk to anybody. So,
Grandpa, you don't keep some Withers Originals caramels in your pocket? Okay, so when you do visit, do you feel like, okay, oh, okay. Oh, you're on your phone. Okay, no worries. Wait, so when you do visit, it,
yeah,
hello, hello,
I
hello?
can. Yeah, I can hear you
Okay,
now. But
wonderful. Wait, so then tell me, that's just so funny. I mean, that's the real shit that I love is, the awkwardness of being a grandparent and like, it's like, what do I do with these little kids? But when you go, what are you bringing? A toy? Is she into Bluey? Are they into Peppa Pig?
yeah. So this is the beautiful thing about media. I do media training,
Hmm.
and nobody puts a gun up to your head and say you have to answer questions. I'd rather get off the grandkids conversation. That's not
Oh my
why I'm
God, of
here.
course. Jesus. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry. No.
I
When
thought
you
we were
said
talking
gun,
about
my heart dropped. I'm
finances.
like, what?
Yeah.
Oh no, that's perfectly fine. Well, you mentioned health, and I know that you have a really important and close to you partnership with 23andMe, and you have been very vocal about your experience as a cancer survivor. So what would you like to say about that initiative and how people can learn more about
Well, thank you for bringing that up because that's dear and important to me.
that? Hmm.
Uh, 5 years ago, I had imagine a white sheet of paper and a red pen and 10 dots on a white sheet of paper. That's one night when I took my T-shirt off. That's what I saw, and I didn't think anything of it, Mandy. And then
Hmm.
the next day, same thing. And I asked my wife, I was like, "Did you buy new T-shirts? What are these dots on my T-shirt?" She said, that's interesting because on your side of the bed, um, there was these drops of blood. And let me go back some. In 1980, I got a promotion to the medical division of Xerox. When we think of Xerox, you think of copiers, but they were
Mm.
a leading modality for breast cancer, zero radiography. And I was fortunate to be their number one sales rep in the world. I'm sure that doesn't surprise you that I would be their number one sales rep in the world. And we trained on male breast cancer. So I knew some of the most important signs in that discharge. And I called my physician. He had never had a man ask for a mammogram. And, only 2% of men are diagnosed worldwide. That's 22,000 men a year diagnosed with male breast cancer. And I had surgery a little bit. And then I took a test for genetics and found out that I had a genetic variance, or you can call it a mutation,
Mm.
which means for men with cancer, higher risk, not that you're going to get it, higher risk of male breast cancer, prostate cancer, the number one killer of Black men, pancreatic cancer, short life expectancy with that, melanoma. For women, it's breast cancer and ovarian cancer. And after that point, I made a lifestyle change because I knew if I didn't, that I would be at higher risk. And I also sold MRI units, first Black in America to sell MRI and CT scanners. And so I get an MRI every year of my prostate, of my pancreas. I constantly every 3 months uh, get a blood test so I could look at my numbers with my prostate. And I annually get a mammogram because I have information and I have knowledge and I have data. I've lost about 25 pounds. I have another 15 to go because unfortunately, cancer, heart disease, love obesity. And so that was very important to me to live. So I'm losing weight. Changed my diet. I walk 2 miles every other day. I, you know, do all the things with a positive spirit.
Mm.
And that's why I joined 23andMe, because young people, those of you that are listening and viewing in, you have an opportunity to get a snapshot of your health right now by a simple saliva test. Who wouldn't want to do that? Who wouldn't want
Yeah.
to get a snapshot of their life, what it could be at 50 or 60 if you live to that point? Uh, and then now you have the information and knowledge, and now you can share that with your health professionals. And I, since 1980, was talking to women about the importance of early detection and getting a mammogram. Now you can go a step even further and get a genetic test. So that's why I'm so excited about being a global brand ambassador for 23andMe, not on the ancestry side. Yes, we do that, but the company is transitioning back to why it was formed. 23 is 23 chromosomes, X and Y. We have 23 each. The company was never named for ancestry. That just was took
They
off.
came
People wanted to know where did they come from?
20% Nigerian.
Yeah, but
Yep.
that was never the intent, and
Do you
so
need to
I'm
get a
glad.
new test, or do you need to send in a new sample to get this additional info about you, like to the,
It's
what you're talking about?
a one time thing.
Because I've
We
done it
have different,
before, like 10 years ago. I think I got my, God, was it
but
10 years ago?
that was ancestry,
So I've got to do a new sample, but just one.
medical for the medical.
Okay.
Yeah,
Gosh. Okay.
yeah, big
Man,
difference.
knowledge is power, but
I'm
it's
glad you
scary.
said that. I'm glad you said that because I didn't want people to not differentiate that there's a medical side of 23andMe and then there's an ancestry side.
Mm.
And you can get both. There's also a program that you can get both. And you can get
Yeah.
cardiovascular. for stroke, Alzheimer's, heart disease. Medicine is changing now.
Does it get overwhelming sometimes, though, having all that knowledge? Sometimes it's like, oh man, I already deal with anxiety. I
No,
can,
it's just the opposite for me.
it calms you down. Yeah. I mean, I can
No,
look at
but
what my
I
dad went
enjoy
through and,
sharing my knowledge.
mm,
So, Mandy, we just, in the last 3 minutes, had the opportunity to save lives. In the first 30 minutes, we didn't have an opportunity to save lives.
mm,
But the last 3 minutes, we had an opportunity to save lives. To me, that's way more important than the first 30 minutes.
uh, well, who knows? I mean, I think, well, one, that kind of work is so important. Like talking about my dad and I have been very open with the BA fam, that's what I call our audience, about my dad's journey because before he had gotten sick, I had no idea how prolific kidney disease, high blood pressure, diabetes had been in my family, and to find out, and I've shared with our audience, how 4 out of my dad's 6 siblings have ended up in end stage renal failure, and my grandpa just passed away from kidney cancer last year. So I think the work that you're doing is extraordinarily important to this audience, and it definitely is in line with the
And it's, um,
transparency
and it's
that we've
important,
tried to
Mandy,
have.
that you get a health genetic test.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I absolutely, yeah, it's something that I'm definitely going to consider. I think that for me, just seeing the proof in my family's history and like, what's interesting, and I don't know if you had this experience too, but there wasn't a lot of chatter like I think it's great that you're actually open about it, but in my family there was this like no one was really outwardly speaking about it. It was sort of like an open secret, I guess, in a way. And no one was like connecting the dots and saying like we all need to be like hyper vigilant and hyper aware of any of these warning signs. Um, did
But
you
you
have to
can
over?
only be hyper vigilant and hyper aware by technology.
Mm,
And that's getting a diagnostic test, a mammogram, or getting a genetic test. That's the only way you really are doing it the right way, to have the conversation that, yeah, in my family, 4 of my 5 dad's brothers died of prostate. Well, that's great. And I know it put me at risk, but I'd rather
mm.
know genetically, am I at risk? The other way, I'm just having a conversation that I'm at risk. The other one,
And
I
do
have,
you get
hey,
like do you get a medical? Because the thing is, like, information is knowledge, but then I don't want to look at these results in a vacuum. I'd rather, because that's what happens when you go to the doctor now, and I get my blood results, and it's like, oh my God, I'm going to start Googling things, and I thought I had pre-diabetes. Turns out I didn't because I went on. And so it's like, how do they offer the side by side? Like, let's have a medical doctor go through these results with you so you can like
yeah,
interpret them.
they do. There's
Oh, good.
we
Okay.
have different tiers, and the highest tier is called total health. And with total health, you get blood work as well as a saliva sample, and the doctor will call you and go over all of the results. Now,
Okay.
on the one of the lower tiers, you get back the information, uh, you know, via certified letter, and then you're probably better off sharing that with your health professional. So there's 2 tiers.
Mm.
But the higher tier, total health, you do get a conversation with a physician.
And this is something that folks can find out at 23andme.com.
Sure. Yes.
Okay. No, I mean, for me, I'm just like, yeah, BA fan. We talk a lot about health. Um, and it's a shame you didn't get to meet my co-host Tiffany, but we talk a lot about health. And for me, it's always like it's that in conjunction with like actually having like a general practitioner and having a medical doctor to help interpret that. Because yeah, it can
Yeah, I
be.
agree with you totally on that.
Yeah, well, I was going to say thank you so much. And I wish you a really healthy, I'm glad to hear that the lifestyle changes you're making are working for you and you seem very well. I know black don't crack, but it takes more than that to keep
Yeah.
us healthy
Hey,
and
that
happy.
rhymes. You know that?
Black don't crack?
It takes more than that.
Oh, it takes more. Oh, okay. I got
Let me
bars.
write that down. I might put that in a song.
Lord,
Thank
apparently
you.
I need to. Um,
Black don't
well,
crack. It takes more than that.
let me know if you want to put me on a credit on some song. I don't know. Let me know. I'll get my own little Survivor piggy bank. I'm working on it. It'll be Brown
uh,
Ambition. It'll be the Brown Ambition IP. But
yeah,
amen, Brown Ambition. Thank you
yeah.
so much, Mr. Knowles. I hope that you enjoyed joining us at the Brown Ambition podcast, and I wish you the best of luck.
Well,
Um,
thank you so much, Mandy. And I give a shout out if you want to book me to speak, go to MathewKnowles.com.
yes, thank you very much. And I'm sure you also can find out more. And we'll post a link to that in the show notes, BA fam, as well as a link to 23andMe so you can learn more about that, see how you can get your results.
Well, thank you
All
so
right,
much,
I'll spit into
Mandy.
a tube. You got me. I'll do. We'll see what
I
I got
hope so.
going on in here.
I hope so. It's important. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. And I don't know your dad, but tell him I said hello.
I will do that.